let's let's talk about survival. You know, if something extreme would happen, and it's been known to happen. Got to remember something, people out there. The government is not obliged to take care of you. You are supposed to be independent, and you're supposed to be able to take care of yourself. There's no place in the Constitution that says the government has to take care of you. Now, you could have some kind of plague or virus, take over the United States, and the government could give you, $1 million worth of food stamps, and you could go to the store and there wouldn't be nothing in the store. What would you do? Seriously, what would you do? Now, you see this soldier out there, well, a couple of them there, up in D.C. And it says, just because the ultra-right-wing radical Lyndon Johnson had to put federal troops at the Capitol is no reason for us to ever worry about massive riots. It can't happen here. Everybody should love each other. We do now, so why worry? People are basically for themselves. They've always been pretty much that way. I mean, there are groups that, that do help each other, and they're few and far between. But let's get back to the thing about, people that say that, you go to the food store and there's nothing there, What would you do, for example, say a week from next Wednesday, there is no gasoline at the pumps, no food in the supermarket, no electric power or city water, the banks were all closed, and a big mob had formed in the center of town, looting and burning out of frustration and fear. Could you and your family survive even a few weeks where you are without additional food or water, and perhaps with little or no police or fire protection? Could you? Now this has been, oh God, this goes all the way back to 1976. It seems so curious that a human experience so fundamental as merely staying alive without the support of others requires a term so dramatic as survival to describe it. But then you have to consider the fact that almost 90% of the American people live in cities. Their food and clothing come from the labors of others. Various forms of energy are processed and delivered to their homes by others. The shelter they live in was probably built by others. It is protected by fire and others from intrusion more or less successfully by others. But because of this common interdependence in this complex civilization, we completely we lose sight of how vulnerable we really are, how unable we are through our own direct efforts to provide the core necessities which we require to support our own lives. I'll say this one more time. We tend to lose sight of how vulnerable we are, how unable we are through our own direct efforts to provide the core necessities which we require to support our own lives. Like I said about the food stamps, you run to the store, you got $1 million worth of food stamps, you can't buy anything in the stores because the stores are empty. Are you going to blame the government for not taking care of you? No, you can't do that. Of course you will. Oh, it's the government's fault. It's the government's fault. Is it? Did you learn any skills when you were growing up? I mean, were you worried about it? Did you think about it? Do you think, where's the food come from? You should have learned how to can food like our forefathers and foremothers did back in the day. They learned to put food and stuff up for a rainy day. They learned to can. They learned to plant. They learned skills. And you think that the government and the cities and everything is going to take care of you? This is in your ballpark, not theirs. Yours. You can't count on anybody but yourself. this country is supposed to be full of freedom and independence. Independence means you can think for yourself. And you should have thought, well, you know, what if? What if? What if? But you didn't. You think everybody's going to take care of you, and that's not how it is anywhere. Like I said, that was Johnson back in the day. You can see the Capitol. This is a little bit more difficult. Now this is just, I'm just putting this up for kind of joking around. I'm not suggesting this in the furthest back places of your mind. It's just kind of joking about what survival would be. You notice that guy, he's got him, got some wine, he's got a head, he's got a knife. Yeah, he don't have no Frank's hot sauce though, I noticed that. And here's another thing I keep joking about. We're talking about survival here, people. You've got to prepare yourself. Do not count on the government because they're not obligated to support you. Things can happen in this world overnight, any kind of disaster at all, or even a fake news disaster. You know, people panic right away. Oh, we got to go get this, we got to go get that, and you go to the store, there's nothing there. There's no gas. There's nothing. You know, like I said, you know, what would you do, say a week from next Wednesday, there was no gasoline at the pumps, no food in the supermarkets, no electric power or city water, the banks were all closed, and a mob had formed in the center of town, looting and burning out of frustration and fear. And what causes frustration and fear is when you're not able to take care of yourself. If you don't have skills now, I would suggest you start going to the library and you get books on different skills. Or you send away and get books on skills. You've got to learn this stuff. Or you perish. You can't expect anybody else. You're on your own. Remember that. You know, if all hell broke loose, do you think the police is going to stand up and do their duty? They're going to go home and take care of their family. Same with the fire department. Same with the sewer department. Everything would break down. We got too big of a I don't know how to say it. It's just spooky. But I'm telling you what, people, without really being aware of it, most of us have subcontracted almost all of our life support activities to other people, corporations, government bodies, and machines. Not only does this circumstance contribute to a sense of frustration which is symbolic of modern man, it is life-threatening should there be an interruption of any of these vital services. You're on your own. Like I said, we've subcontracted almost all of our life support activities to other people, corporations, government bodies, and machines. You're not able to, through your own direct efforts, to provide the necessities that our forefathers used to do for their families. So learn some skills. Thanks for watching.